Today, we're going to talk about something that's quietly happening inside so many startups. It's a hidden mistake in the hiring process, and it's literally burning through investor capital. And the wild part is, most founders don't even see it happening until it's way too late.
So let me ask you, whether you're an investor or a founder, after you've written that check or seen that money hit the bank account, do you know where every single dollar is really going? Because I can tell you, the biggest leaks aren't always on the balance sheet.
Just picture it for a second. You've just closed a major funding round. The cash is secure. Everyone is celebrating. You are ready and waiting for that explosive rocket ship growth you've been working towards. The future looks bright.
But right at that peak moment of excitement, a tiny hidden leak can spring in the ship. And this is a story about how some of the most common, well-intentioned decisions can lead straight to a massive waste of capital.
Okay, so what's the first thing a founder does with a fresh round of funding? They hire, right? They need to build the team, to build the product. It's logical, it's totally necessary. But this exact step, this is precisely where your investment money can start to just vanish.
It all starts with your CTO. They're probably a genius, but they are completely buried in work, juggling building the product, managing the tech stack, and leading the team. So to save time, what do? They delegate the technical interviews. And that one single decision creates a disastrous domino effect. Hiring gets passed down to other engineers who, sure, are great at coding, but they have zero training in how to actually hire well. All of a sudden, building your team stops being a strategy, and it becomes a lottery.
And we're going to call this what it is: the gut feeling lottery. It's a game of chance, and it's fueled by nothing more than good intentions. But believe me, it is one of the absolute fastest ways to burn through a startup's precious runway.
So why does this lottery almost always fail? Well, a few reasons. First, you get the big tech bias. Engineers start looking for skills that are perfect for a giant, slow-moving corporation, not your fast-paced startup. Then, the decisions get based on a vague gut feeling, instead of any real data. With no consistent standards, every single interview is different, and you can't compare candidates fairly. And worst of all, you get these abstract brain teasers and puzzles that have literally nothing to do with the actual job of building your product.
Now, for the first few months, everything seems okay. People are being hired, everyone's busy, but then, 6 months down the line, you get hit by what I call the invisible crash. The product launch is delayed, key features are nowhere near ready, and when you look at the books, half the runway is already gone. You have a full team, but it's just not the right team.
And this really gets to the heart of it. You're not just losing time. You're not just missing deadlines. You are losing the one single thing you cannot get back: money, your capital. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, okay, this sounds like an HR problem, so why should I be listening to a software engineer about it? You know what? That is a completely fair point, so let's tackle that skepticism head on. Let's just put the question right out there. Why should you trust a software engineer to help design your hiring process? Isn't that what recruiters and HR are for? Here is why. Because assessing deep technical talent is its own specialized discipline. It's not just a checklist item. I've personally lived this from both sides of the table. I've been the candidate in over 200 interviews, and I've been the one conducting them in over 100. And beyond that, I've spent years getting trained in bias-aware assessment and honing this skill in the trenches of both high-pressure startups and big tech. This isn't just something I do on the side. It's a craft.
And let me be perfectly clear about my role here. I'm not here to replace anyone. I don't replace your HR team. I don't replace your CTO. I act as a technical quality control partner. I work with them. I bring the data, the structure, the objective analysis. But the final decision on who to hire, that always stays with you. So what this is really about is shifting our thinking. We need to stop seeing this as just fixing a process. We need to start seeing it for what it is: protecting your investment by guaranteeing a better result. So when you get this right, you're not just buying some HR support. No. You are buying the outcomes that actually matter. You're buying execution speed so you can outpace your competition. You're buying a de-risked roadmap you can actually rely on. And you're buying the capital efficiency that makes every single dollar you've raised work harder for you. And the results are so tangible. First, you get rid of the CTO tax, that hidden cost of pulling your top leader away from the product. You prevent those six-figure hiring mistakes that can sink a company. You immediately reclaim 10+ engineering hours every single week. And best of all, you build a repeatable hiring engine that becomes an asset for your company's entire future.
So let's actually look at the before and after. This is all about making a fundamental shift.
from building your team based on guesswork to building it with a system based on hard data.
Okay, so right now in the current process, your CTO is a bottleneck. Everything has to go through them, and it slows the entire company down. The solution? We free up your most expensive and critical leader to focus on what only they can do. Build a world-class product. Next, we move away from those risky, gut-feeling hires, which are really just expensive gambles, and we replace them with data-driven decisions that are fair, consistent, and far more likely to be right.
And finally, we stop burning precious engineering hours on screening call after screening call. That time is reclaimed and put right back where it creates actual value, building and delivering your product to customers.
Ultimately, what this is all about is de-risking your roadmap. It's about building a team that doesn't just look great on paper, but a team that can actually execute when the pressure is on. The outcome you get is clarity, pure and simple. And the way we get there is with a hiring system that's custom-built to solve your company's real-world problems, not some generic template copied from a big tech company. I want to leave you with one last thought here. You know what the most dangerous part of a bad hire is? For months, it looks like you're doing everything right. Your headcount is growing, people seem busy, and then one day you wake up and realize it was all just motion with no real progress. And by then, it's too late. So, the question every founder and investor really needs to be asking themselves is this: is your current hiring process actually building your company, or is it just silently burning your runway?